Okay. Thank you. Okay, Torah, Parshas Chayei, page Tezayin. It's only basically 1.5 Maimorim over here. Okay. L'havin Yemasham Razal, to understand what Chazal say, is connected to the pasuk Avram Zakin Baba Yamin. Avram got old, coming in days. It says, understand what Chazal say, that one turning, 1 hour of turn Tshuva Ma'asim Tov in this world is better than the whole Olam Haba. We need to understand what is the ultimate purpose of Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim. The garments, how do we create garments for the Neshama? The Neshama's garments are thought, speech, and action. But how do we create them? Thinking Torah, speaking Torah, learning Torah. He says, the purpose of Olam Hazeh is for Olam Haba. What do you hear? Besides people that learn Chassidus. Everybody says, no, we need to go to Olam Haba, we have to do mitzvahs to go to Olam Haba. So how can one Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim Olam Hazeh, which l'cha'era is in order to come to Olam Haba, how can you say it's greater than Olam Haba?
I thought the garments were only mitzvahs.
That's what he's saying. But l'peil, why do we do mitzvahs? To go to Olam Haba. So how can you say 1 hour of Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim, meaning mitzvahs in this world, is better than the whole Olam Haba? Like the Zera says on the pasuk, Avram was old, coming in days. It's lechisimly redundant. If he's old, it means he came in days. In those days of above, woe is to that person. The God he came in Le'elam that ruins the days from above. I'll explain in a second. The kadbayin la'bashale be'in yema the pagam chsada hu malu levushim. Says like this: a person, when they do Torah mitzvahs, creates garments for Olam Haba. Now, what happens? You blow it in this world, so then you're missing garments in Olam Haba. So the Torah says, woe is to the person that is missing out the garments in Olam Haba. Everybody's going to be dressed, and you're going to be without clothing because you didn't do it. But the Inyan is like, so the question is, this world is a preparation for Olam Haba, so how can this world be greater than Olam Haba? The revelation of the ray of the Shechina in Olam Haba is not similar to the revelation of Elokus in these worlds. So the Get says, Hashem gives life to everything, that this godliness that comes into the world is not understood. Meaning, you give them mashal. Okay? Like the neshama's manifestation in the body, functioning in the body. In the various different limbs. You can't say, and we learned this already, we learned this by last year too, but you can't say again, the neshama is composed of 613 parts that comes in, 248 parts that comes into each limb. In other words, the neshama itself doesn't have a power of sight compartment, and a power of hearing compartment, and a power of a speaking compartment. The neshama is one simplistic power. A clothing. Yeah. So when the neshama's power comes into the eyes, it sees. When the neshama, like a battery, it comes into the flashlight, it gives light. It comes into a toy, it walks. I mean, whatever it may be. So he says, okay. Because in the spiritual power of the neshama, you can't have a physical department, eye department, mouth department, those are all physical things. The function of the neshama in the body you see. The hand moves, the mouth talks, the eyes see. But the essence of what it is ain't a near of a close, not at all noticeable. In other words, we know the function of the neshama. What the neshama is, we don't know. In other words, this was called mitzius, the existence of it we know. How do we know the neshama exists in the body? Because a living person could walk and talk and see and whatever. Dead people, that the neshama left the body, don't see, talk, and walk. Right? That means we see the function of the neshama. What the neshama is, we have absolutely no understanding of what it is. So the same thing, you look at the world, you see Elokus functioning. There's inanimate, plant, animal, human, the whole world is functioning, yeah? He says, there's no question that the spirituality that Hashem gives existence to the world with is not limited. Okay? The ball of the heaven. Okay? The universe is round, right? Now, there's no question that the chayes that gives function to the universe, but you can't say that in the ruchnis the chayes there's also a circle. So let's speak about Earth. Earth is a ball, right? Kadur ha'aretz. It's interesting. The science woke up, or who was it? The Copernicus, whatever, to discover that the world was round. In the Gemara, it already calls it Kadur ha'aretz. The Gemara already knew that the Earth is round. You can't say that in the ruchniistic power that makes the Earth exist, there's a circular ruchniistic power, and that circular ruchniistic power comes into the circular guy. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Rak, she'esbash the sachayis, the manifestation of the power from Hashem, is lifitmunis kliya mekabel achayis, is based on the way you accept it. And again, the physical muscle we know, besides the neshama in the body, we know it like a battery. Again, there's no light in a battery, or to give a light in a flashlight, or walking in it. It comes into this keli, it functions accordingly. Or another muscle gives a muscle that the chayis is like colorless water. Water is colorless. It comes into a red glass. For all practical purposes, somebody looking at the glass, the water is red. Green, yellow, blue, purple, whatever. Even though the chayis functions directly in it, the chayis itself is not begedem makom agvul, is not limited. Yes, the neshama functions, or elokus functions, saying Moshe is giving. When the neshama functions in the body, the neshama is not seeing, hearing, or that. The neshama is one simplistic power. It comes into this level, this is how it functions. It comes into this level, this is how it functions. Okay? The same thing chayis in elokus. Elokus functions. When it comes into inanimate, it functions inanimate, plant, animal, human, and so on. Now we can understand, the pasuk says, Molech chol ha'aretz kveidei. Right, it's a pasuk. Molech chol ha'aretz kveidei. And Targum says, what does it mean, kveidei, his glory? Ziv yukari, a ray of his glory. Shurak ziv is pashtus sa'ara belvat, which is only a ray of the power, right? Molech chol ha'aretz kveidei means not Hashem himself. The glory of Hashem permeates the world. Another pasuk says, "Es Hashemayim v'eretz ani molech." Another pasuk says, Hashem says, "I permeate heaven and earth." One pasuk says, "Kavoidei," His glory, meaning His ray. Another pasuk says, "Yes, ani," the essence of Hashem. So how does it work? He says, "Inyan shneim emes." Both are true. Why? Then he said, in Kanalik he said before, meaning there is a limited form of chayis that comes into the world. Okay? That's what's called the ray of the neshama, the ray of the Shechina. But then you have the essence of the Shechina, the real neshama itself. He says, this is what Chazal say. In the place where you find Hashem's greatness, there you find His humility. What do you mean you find His humility? Not like world things. What is the greatness of Hashem? You ask the world, what is the greatness of Hashem? They'll tell you, you know what He is? That He sustains the universe. That's what people will tell you. Look how great God is. He sustains the universe. And he says, it's not like the world thinks. It's this that Hashem gives existence to the world. Adarab, on the contrary. That Yerida Etzla Yizbarich. It's really a descent. Why? Because in order for Hashem to sustain the worlds, He has to limit Himself. So you can imagine that for infinite, to become limited is not a greatness. It's a limitation. Shemash will forget the opposite. This that Hashem comes into the world to make world exist is really descent from Hashem's perspective. Cause that we say that you give. He says, that's not a praise. In other words, like this. Al Rebbe says in Shayei Ramuna, what do you mean? Ata machaya es kulam. Ata is spelled Aleph Tav Hey. What do you mean? Ata machaya es kulam. You give life to everything. We know what's the existence to the world, the power of Hashem in creation, the words of Hashem. So At is Aleph to Taf, A to Z, and Hey are the 5 formations of the mouth. So when we say At Mechayes Kulam, it doesn't mean the essence of Hashem. It means the letters of the Aleph base from Aleph to Taf, meaning the limited form of Hashem, Mechayes Kulam. To Hashem's greatness there is no end. So what is the greatness of Hashem then? We're praising Hashem that He's limiting Himself. He says no, the praise is that Hashem is able to limit Himself. Hashem's humility, that He can lower Himself. That's the greatness of Hashem. We learned many times, the brilliance of a genius is not when he can talk to brilliant geniuses. The greatness of a genius is when he can take the genius of him and teach it to little kids. In a way that they understand it. Yet, the entire geniusness is in what he taught.
You must know the subject extremely well to be able to do that.
Correct. There's a Yiddish expression, if it's felt in hasbara, felt in havana. If it's missing explanation, it's missing in understanding. If you can't explain it, that means you don't understand it. In order to be able to understand something, you have to understand it. And if you can't explain it, it means you don't understand it.
When you explain it to the lower level, it's a higher level of understanding.
That's what I'm saying. What is the praise of Hashem over here? But Makim Gdullah say, you want to know the real praise of Hashem? But at the Meitan, that He's able to give chayis to the world. And like we say in the Chassidus always calls the pasuk in Tehillim, Gadol Hashem u'mohulo me'ed be'ir alekenu. Yeah, in Tehillim. Hashem is great, Umola Maid is praiseworthy, Be'ir Elokeinu. So the Medrash says, a Maseh hu gadol, when do you see the greatness of Hashem? Shul Be'ir Elokeinu, the city. What does it mean, the city? World. Because like he said, different stones make a house. Many houses make a neighborhood, a block. Many blocks make a neighborhood. Many neighborhoods make a city. You know, the whole thing. So the same thing. Why is Ir Elokeinu refers to creation? Because again, Hashem formed letters like stone. In Sefer Yetzirah it says the letters of creation were like stones. 2 stones built 2 houses. 3 stones built 6 houses. Okay. But Chassidus explains, not a Maseh hu gadol shel Be'ir Elokeinu. Chassidus says, don't read it a Maseh, read it Amiti hu gadol shel Be'ir Elokeinu. It's the same letters. Simply means, when do you see the greatness of Hashem? When he's able to limit itself into Elokeinu. Chassidus interprets it deeper. Amiti hu gadol. When is the emes, the real greatness of Hashem? Dafka when he's able to create the world. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe explains in Siman Chafei Gersa Kodesh that the Alter Rebbe wrote right before he passed away. The Alter Rebbe explains over there that creation, to be able to create yesh mi'ayin, comes from the atzmus of Hashem. The fact that Hashem is able to come and create a world, yesh mi'ayin, put ruchnius into gashmius, that's what life is. Ruchnius into gashmius, that can only come from the essence of Hashem, which is higher than ruchnius and higher than gashmius.
The concept of ruchnius and gashmius can be, is it refutable? Can it be refuted?
Well, what?
The concept of ruchnius, neshama in a guf,
No.
can be refuted?
Like what? How?
And that's the question.
Okay. What's the difference between a living person and a dead person? Woman.
I say it's neshama. Scientists say no, the heart and brain. We've talked about
Again, a dead person has a heart.
it's not working.
What's making that tick?
I say neshama.
Okay, so they want to call it a different name. Who cares? But there's something there making it tick that leaves when a person dies.
It's the brain.
Hello?
It's the brain.
There's still a brain in a dead person. Still has a brain. It's not functioning. So there's something that's functioning in the body that leaves when the person dies. You can't refute that. That's a fact. So we call it potato chips. I mean,
If you refute it, it becomes science.
but the Torah is not science.
That's not science.
Torah is not science.
Right.
But again, whatever you want to call that power that makes the world go round, functions in the world, we call it God. You want to call that thing potato chips? Call potato chips. You know what I mean? What's the difference what you call it? We're talking about the concept of what it is. That power is not refutable.
It's not refutable.
Because what's the difference between a living person and a dead person? What's the difference between a functioning world and a non-functioning world?
It's a matter of emunah. Emunah does not have to refute it.
It's not emunah, it's logic.
Then for somebody-
Well, I mean, that there's a power in the body keeping it alive. Is emunah or seichel? Now again, he said, Dr. Rabbi just said, the function of it we understand. What it is we don't know.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's not refutable.
Right, it's not.
Okay. So he says, Aval inyan olam haba, shenan nemiziv hashchina, hu asog es mos v'atzmis pashtas hachayis eloki b'chinas gilui. Okay, now, he says, down here, we know the functioning of the neshama, We don't know what it is. Correct? We understand the functioning of Hashem in the world. What it is, we don't know. In Olam Haba, we know what it is. The only, as Alter Rebbe is going to explain though, what do we know what it is the ray. That we know. But the essence we don't know.
The Torah says when you see that sun bends from east to west and this and that, when you see that, you have an idea of what it is.
In Daniel it says that the sun gets up in the east, sets in the west, never changes what it was told to do.
Right. So when you see these things functioning the way they're functioning, you have...
There has to be a power. You want to call it nature, Mother Nature?
That's the shalom. You always have a food.
No, but I'm saying you want to call Mother Nature? Call it Mother Nature, but that Mother Nature is called God. We call it God, world calls it Mother Nature. There are many people,
Intelligent design.
Yeah, intelligent. Many people medically can have children, but they don't. Many times you go to doctors, absolutely nothing wrong. So why don't they? Because Hashem doesn't want them to have. The Chayei Lada, the ability to give birth, comes from Ein Sof. The ability to create life, not extend life, stem cells, whatever, cloning, the ability to, and in Samach to Samach, the Maimon, the Rabbi Shab said at the Friedrich Rebbe's wedding, he says that, where does that Koyach Ein Sof come to parents? At the chuppah. At the time of the chuppah, that is when they get the Birchas Atzmus Ein Sof, to be able to have children, which is only B'Koyach HaAtzmus. That's why chuppah is such a holy thing. Like we said, it's the Kohen Gadol going into the Kodesh HaKadosh on Yom Kippur, and what people do at a chuppah is embarrassing. That's why by us, a chuppah is extremely serious. For the duration of the chuppah, the Alter Rebbe is making it's very, very serious. Afterwards, then you're happy. That's why most people, even Frumer people, they go to, when the chassan goes to put on the veil on the kala, they're dancing and they sing, they show them a backwards front, you watch it, you see, yeah? Which is very nice. By us, we go with Alter Rebbe's niggun. Chassan serious, the kala is supposed to be serious. It's a very holy time, it's very serious.
So you guys go the chatan not to escape.
No, we tie him down. Okay, so now he says, so he says, what's the difference between this world, is we know the existence of Hashem, but we don't understand the mohus, what it is. Gan Eden, they understand it. He said, but now the question is, a neshama is still a limited thing. How can a limited being understand Gan Eden, the ray of the Shekhinah?
Why is it that the Atzmut is here, we don't understand it, but the Zig, we understand it?
Yeah. That's why the Mishnah is not a contradiction. The Mishnah says, when our Tshuva Meisim Tevim Be'el Mazeh is better than the Olam Haba. That means this world is better. Then it says, in the same line, the next word, and 1 hour of bliss in Olam Haba is better than this world. So which one's better? So, simple, without what the Mefarshim explain. According to Chassidus, it's very simple. In this world, you do a mitzvah, you connect to the essence of Hashem. You don't get it though, you don't understand it. Keiras Ruach of Olam Haba means bliss. In Olam Haba you understand, but it's only Ziv HaShechina, the ray of the Shechina. So if you're talking about understanding bliss, Gan Eden is better because you understand it. But what do you understand over there? Only a ray. This world, we connect to the essence. But, like you said before, we know the existence. We don't understand what it is. We know the functioning. We don't know what it is.
So the ziv you feel, but the essence you don't feel.
Right. But in this world, you got the essence. Now, what's the ultimate goal? Tchias HaMesim is when the essence will be felt. That's why it's only in this world. Mashiach's not coming in Gan Eden. In fact, there's expressions in the Maimorim all over the place. The Ovis are waiting 3,000 years in Gan Eden. Can you imagine how high they are in Gan Eden? Every day they go higher, the earth they go higher. And Bechal, they started off very high in Gan Eden, yeah? They're all the way up there. Can you imagine how high they are in Gan Eden? And yet they're dying, they're dying to be able to come back by Tchias HaMesim. Because as high as they're getting in Gan Eden, every year more, it's still a ray of the Shekhinah. This world is the essence. Now we connect to the essence. You do a mitzvah, you connect to the essence, but you don't understand the essence. Gan Eden, you feel, but it's not the essence. It's only a ray of the Shekhinah. The ultimate is to understand the essence. That's called Tchias HaMesim. Dira b'tachteinim, the purpose of Dira b'tachteinim, the essence of Hashem, Dira, the essence of Hashem to be felt in this world is the purpose of creation.
Then in Gan Eden, when you understand that if you feel the ziv, you have the part of the essence, you have the essence. You feel the ziv, you feel
It's not the essence.
You have the part of the essence, you have the essence.
It's not part, it's a ray, it's a gilui. You have the ray of the sun here?
Yes.
You have the sun? If you had the sun here, you'd be burnt in about half a second. You have the essence? You don't have the essence. If you have the essence of the sun, you wouldn't make it. None of us would make it. So what do we have? We have the ray of the sun that you can handle. It's a ray of the essence, but the ray doesn't have the essence. The ray reveals part of the essence. When you take an apple, the Moshe, the Psad Yigorin said, an essence, when you have part of it, you have all of it. So what's the Moshe Chassidus gives? You take an apple and you cut it in half. Yeah? You eat it. Now you have half the taste of the apple, or you have the entire taste of the apple. The Chayei, if you cut it in half, you should only have half the taste. Right? And half the texture, and half everything else. What's the answer? Well, you have a part of the essence, you have the whole essence. But it's not the ray of the apple, it's the apple. A ray is not the essence.
How is this different with what the Muslims say?
What?